Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, it is Wednesday night. Welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insider's special edition. I'm Dan Marotti along with
the WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather.
Folks, we hope you have your ticket. We're not talking about Amtrak. The whole train is leaving the station. Stand by.
Wrestling fans, get ready for a weekend of the unpredictable as the Berzerker, John Nord, returns to WWF Studios in Melrose the weekend of Saturday, January the 22nd. Wrestling Insider Throwback Thursday tapings, live episodes, watch-alongs, cyber autograph signings, and more. Boston Wrestling Patreon fans can meet the Berzerker for free. For more information and mail order info, head on over to thebostonwrestling.com super site now. Don't miss the Berzerker January 22nd. Wrestling fans, on Royal Rumble Saturday, January the 29th, things are getting a little dirty. That's right. Joining us live in studio for the very first time will be our longtime friend, the legendary Zeb Coulter, a.k.a. Dirty Dutch Mantel. Dutch will be with us all weekend for Wrestling Insider tapings, Patreon watch-alongs, live episodes, and cyber autograph signings. Plus, Dutch will be watching the Royal Rumble with us. For more information and autograph photos, head on over to bostonwrestling.com. Wrestling fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night. Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insiders. What a very interesting first episode we have, learning about your athletic background and your introduction into the world of pimping and Germany, New Jersey, Memphis, Japan. I mean, I didn't realize you had quite the extensive background that you did.
Oh yeah, it was quick. It happened real quick.
Yeah.
You know, surprisingly, it was probably from the time I went to the Monster Factory to the WWE, it was probably 3 years.
Wow, yeah, that is quick. And you became seasoned
Yes.
at the same time. Take us back, though, not too far from here, Tucson, Arizona, May the 28th, 1991. You made your dark match, I guess debut would be the way to put it, as not Papa Shango or the Godfather or Kama Mustafa, but as Sir Charles.
Got there, they wanted me to be a heel. They said, we're not going to call you Soul Taker. So we got to come up with something. And that was Arizona, Phoenix, where Charles Barkley was playing for the Suns at the time.
When he was Sir Charles.
Yeah, he was Sir Charles. So they
thought commercials.
To put some heat on me, they called me Sir Charles, and it did. So I went out there. It's the only one and only time that I ever worked as Sir Charles was my dark match.
And did they give you like a basketball type outfit?
No, I had my Soul Taker outfit.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But they just called me Sir Charles.
Oh.
Yeah. It was, it was the old Dr. Death kind of Steve Williams, long, hoodie with long cape. And I was more of a boxer gimmick kind of, but mohawk and big and kind of looked like the Legion of Doom, kind of those old motorcycle boots.
Oh, okay.
And black long tights, but kind of that look.
And what was your impression the first time? Wow, okay, you were Japan, Memphis, Germany. Here you are now with the World Wrestling Federation. They had a pretty bad 1990 when they went with the Warriors, the Champion, and Dusty headlining the other tour while Hulk was making movies. But in 91, it had rebounded strong. They had a really strong talent roster. Your memories of just going into the venue for the first time and seeing everything that went into making the WWF production a reality, far beyond just the wrestlers that would get in the ring and wrestle, an entire team of people to make it happen.
Oh, it was electrifying. It was just cool to see all that and what goes behind it. But I was so excited to be there, man. It was just a great experience. I wasn't overwhelmed at all.
Really?
I had done so much wild, crazy stuff in my life that it was just, to me, it was just another chapter. And for me, wrestling was always fun. It was a way for me. I was like a big, crazy biker, and back then, a lot of people acted like that, and there was real serious characters. And a lot of tough guys that liked to drink, liked to fight, liked to do all type of other stuff. And so it was a way for me to have fun and be around people that were like me. And that's why you would see me come and go, because when I wasn't having fun, I always had the strip clubs to make money. So I'm like, Vince, you're not doing nothing with me. I'm going through tables, I'm getting hit with chairs, this traveling, I'm out of here. And he knew that I wasn't going to go to WCW, I was going to go to these other places. So they would just let me go, and then they'd call me in a year or two, and they're like, you ready to come back? And I'm like, no. No, really? And then they're like, well, this time we're going to do this thing, and we're going to put you on a Harley. I'm like, you're going to put me on a Harley? Okay, I'll come back for that. And that's how it really went.
It's really interesting.
I always had, it's going to sound weird, but wrestling was always my second job. I've always had the strip clubs, and up until 3 years ago, I've had it since '84.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a run.
It's a long run.
A hell of a run.
Pimping ain't easy.
If you wanted to, I'm sure probably get back into the game.
The game has changed so much that I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Really?
It's just not fun anymore. Maybe I've outgrown it, and I'm tired of being around drunks, and these young strippers are not like they used to be. And it's just, people have changed.
The stripper attitude.
Oh, they're just, social media has changed everything. So it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
I made my money and I put my
it's
time.
like
Plus at 60, I don't need to be in these strip clubs.
If it's not fun for you, why keep doing it, right? You put your time into all of your different careers, and you still got other avenues to get involved in. So you're still having fun, staying young, and doing your thing just in a different way.
Yes, sir.
Survivor Series 1991, a controversial night. Hulk Hogan took one of the very few pins of his career to The Undertaker, and then a few nights later, they did the only time in WWE history, less than a week later, a Tuesday night pay-per-view, a very creative title called This Tuesday in Texas, which was involved with a WWF television taping that night. As they built up that pay-per-view, you were back doing a little bit of dark work. Any memories of being around This Tuesday in Texas when they did the big angle with Hogan, Flair, and Undertaker?
I don't really remember too much
that?
about that.
Mm-hmm.
No. Was I involved in it at all?
Oh, no, you were just doing some dark work.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I wasn't involved with
You
it,
don't remember.
I wasn't involved with it. I only was involved with what I was doing and the people around me. I had no time for what Hogan was doing,
Right.
what Brett was doing, which I had no time for that. I wasn't even part of that. So I just kind of, we had a group called BSK.
Yeah.
And if it didn't involve those people, I wasn't really involved in it because we had our hands full just watching our backs.
Was it, well, we really don't remember much about the event, but kind of interesting to be around pay-per-view for the first time, or just kind of doesn't even sink in?
I've been around
So many.
so many celebrities, so many people, so many athletes that, by the time it was just maybe I took it for granted. I don't know, but it was just part of life. Be having fun, and I've been around a lot of stuff like that. So like I was never overwhelmed by the WWERF.
From what you recall, in this around that time when they brought you back for that dark work in December of '91, is that around the time they said to you, "We love your body, we love the size, but we need to do something about the face"?
When I was hired,
Okay.
after that tryout,
Mhm.
Vince said, "We're going to hire you. We're going to put you on payroll." He says, "But you got a body of a monster, but you have a baby face." He goes, "We got to do something with that face." So he goes, "Go ahead, keep training, keep doing what you're doing." And then I got a call one day at the club, and they're like, the doorman's like, "Hey, Vince is on the phone." I'm like, yeah, Vince is on the phone. "Yeah, what's up, Vince?" He goes, "Charles, Vince McMahon." I'm like, "Oh, shit. It's it." And he goes, I can remember it was yesterday. He goes, "Charles, go rent the movie Live and Let Die. It's a James Bond film. I already knew the film." He goes, "And there's a voodoo character in there that we're going to take, parts off of. And let me know what you think. We got you flying in this Friday, and we're going to measure for a costume and go over everything." And it was like, okay.
Wow.
Bam, I was off, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool.
And what did you think of your first impressions of seeing they do those nice sketches and drawings?
Yes.
What did you think of the
I thought
Papa Shango?
I thought it was cool. Like this is going to be different. It's going to be fun.
Did you have a voodoo background?
No.
No.
I did do a lot of research. I went to New Orleans, spent some time there. I did do a lot of research because we wanted to make it authentic. So the symbols and what and the things that I was saying, and then even though I'm not a voodoo man, priest, the things I was saying were real spells and real things.
Oh,
and
really?
Cat head bones and coffin nails, and it was all real stuff.
Wow.
I had a spell book that we would, do. Yeah.
And that was back in the good old days when before they just throw someone on TV, they'd take a good 4 to 6 weeks and they produce those little 30-second vignettes. And before you ever walked out in the first time on TV as Papa Shango, you were already over with the fans because they had seen you casting spells or whatever the hell it was you were supposed to be doing in those very, very creepy, scary looking backgrounds. Did you study any horror movies, or was it more just...
They would set all that up, and they had writers that did that, and I would just show up on set and we'd do it, I really had nothing to do with that part. Most of the characters, I was just kind of doing what they told me to do, except the Godfather. The Godfather was all me, never scripted, just having fun.
That's probably why
that's why I worked. It was just me being this guy that you see right now, and just having fun.
What about the first time you came out, January 7th, 1992, at a TV taping? You worked a guy, I think, who was in his 70s and still does indies out of the Southeast, Mike Jackson. Your debut was Papa Shango. And like you said, a man that has seen a lot, done a lot. There wasn't probably a lot of trepidation inside of you, but was there any worry that it wouldn't work?
That's going back a long ways, but I never gave it much thought. I would take if it would work or not. It was a job. It's what I was handed to do, and I was like, I'll do the best I can with this job. I mean, they're paying you good money to do it. My attitude is a lot different than most people's. I used to tell people about Vince. He's a great guy, as long as you don't forget he's your boss.
Right. Yeah.
And so, being a boss of these clubs and being an owner, I knew I was all business. Mm-hmm. So if you pay me what you say you're going to pay me, I don't have no time to fight you over the creativity of this thing. You're going to do with this character what you want. I'm not going to burn myself down and worry about, oh my God, it's just not me. If I'm not having fun, I'm out of here anyway. So, I have a different outlook than probably 99% of them.
And not everybody had something easy to fall back into.
That made them money.
Anytime they wanted to, yeah. Did you have a chance, before you actually made your TV debut, to see any of the vignettes? How they were produced and how they looked? And how did you think they came out?
I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
Of course you see them all. They sent it to you before they put them on air. But they were, I was like, wow, this is cool. I was having fun. I was having fun. I just, Papa Shango, I was probably more the destruction of Papa Shango than Vince, because I was going through a divorce, and the bear came out, and I wasn't happy. And so it was like...
Good outlet, maybe, then, to be a heel.
Yeah.
Get that aggression.
But I was like real heel. Like I was more heel at night than I was in the ring.
Oh, really?
Yes. So.
Well, you know, was it tough to be a man in an industry with so much travel around, different ladies in every town, different cities, and still, you know, at home, still have the missus?
Well, that's why I've been married 3 times.
So for the first 2 times, it was a little difficult.
Well, I
You needed the right one.
I met the right one this time. Like I said, we're going on 23 years.
That's great.
She's the one that came up with the whole Godfather thing.
Did she?
My wife did. Yes.
Really? Wow. That's pretty cool.
We had a seamstress making the clothes, the vest, the outfit. She had a jeweler making the jewelry. She had a hat guy making. She did. All I did was I call it the silly part. Just go out there and be me, you know. But she did everything else. Was my wife.
That must have been a fun collaboration to have her involved in the process itself.
And, you know, and at that time I wasn't doing all that craziness that I was doing. I'd stopped doing all that. So, you know, unfortunately, people always like, I bet you were with a lot of them hoes. No, I wasn't, but a lot of the boys were.
You shared, that's all.
Yeah.
And when you signed, what kind of a contract did you get? Did you have one of those typical, we'll give you 12 TV dates at $150?
No, I don't remember what the guarantee was, but it was a 3-year deal with like either a $50,000 or $75,000 jump.
Oh, so there was some kind of at least minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, because a lot of the guys, I'm sure you've heard what I just mentioned. They get that. All right, 12. We'll give you the 12 TV dates, and then $150, and then whatever you make out of it,
I don't think they were doing that.
You had a nice downside. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
At least you had something.
Yeah.
You know, you could.
But I think everybody had something. I don't think there was no deals like that back then.
The downside guarantee didn't become a full-time thing until '96 because of all people, Mark Nero.
Really?
He was the first that got the, for I guess maybe what you consider decent money downside guarantee. I think it was $250 a year for 3 years, and then they had to transfer everybody, you know, roll everybody into it, or obviously wouldn't be fair, and you know.
As far as
you had something.
I had something.
Oh, that's cool.
I had something. I just don't remember.
And it was 3 years.
Yeah.
You do remember that part.
I remember it was 3 years. And I didn't make it to 3 years.
No. You did about half.
This is about the time that the 1, 2, 3 kid just beat Razor in that match.
Yeah.
It's at that time, and I'm like, you know what? They're going to be coming after me next. I was like, Vince, I'm out of here. And
it wasn't much longer after that.
I told him, like, Vince, I ain't having fun. Vince would laugh at me. He goes, okay, Charles, we'll go home. And I wasn't going to go. No, he knew I was going to go to another organization. He knew Vince knows a lot about me. And so I'm like, you know, he goes, go home. We'll give you a call pretty soon. And they would.
Did Vince ever go to the Cheetah Club?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Maybe it's a long time ago. Vince has been to back before social media. Vince used to hang out with us back in the day.
Yeah, but he can have
way back in the day.
Without worrying about it popping up on Twitter.
Yeah. So.
All right, wrestling fans. He may have taken his sabbaticals, but our next sabbatical will be over in just a few seconds. We'll be back after this brief timeout. Stand by.
Fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night.
Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marotti.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It's all over BostonWrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now available on eBay. You can add this to your collection.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. Get this WWE NXT TakeOver War Games 2020 11x14 limited edition autographed poster signed by everyone on the event, number 23 of only 100 made. Includes signatures from the Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, Io Shirai, Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley, Dexter, Loomis, and more. Comes with authentication hologram on the back of the poster. Also comes with mystery autographed 8x10 and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now. Wrestling fans, get ready for a weekend of the unpredictable as the Berzerker, John Nord, returns to MWF Studios in Melrose the weekend of Saturday, January the 22nd. Wrestling Insider Throwback Thursday tapings, live episodes, watch-alongs, cyber autograph signings, and more. Boston Wrestling Patreon fans can meet the Berzerker for free. For more information and mail order info, head on over to thebostonwrestling.com super site now. Don't miss the Berzerker, January 22nd.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders. Dan Marotti, along with my friend, the Godfather, the man that I'm telling you, the train never shuts down. Amtrak has got nothing on him. We are enjoying the ambiance and everything that goes into our annual pallbearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. You can find out more information about that on bostonwrestling.com, my dear friend. As we continue through your journey in the World Wrestling Federation in 1992, it was a hot time early on in the year for the company. On one team, you had Hogan and Piper, and they were battling it out with Sid and Flair. On the other team, you had Macho Man and Jake the Snake coming off of that crazy angle where the Snake bit into Macho Man's arm, which I always thought was a smart thing with WWF. Before they put you guys on the road with the house shows, they'd let it simmer a little bit. You know, they'd play those vignettes, then they'd let you debut on TV, then they'd give you 3 or 4 squash matches over a month or two, then they'd start putting you on the house shows.
Do they still do vignettes or no?
It's very seldom.
Very seldom.
And I think it doesn't help, you know? I think if you build someone up and let them be known and look like a star before they're ever on TV, you're going to get a star reaction when they come out, you know? One man's opinion.
They used to do vignettes of whoever came
For
in.
everybody.
For everybody. That was the difference back then. I don't watch the show right now just because I don't watch TV. I hear that I need to start watching AEW because I heard a lot of good things about that. So I'm going to start watching. I just don't watch much TV. But I forgot where we're going with that. But,
the vignettes we were talking about.
Back then, man, everybody, from the guys that were the first match to the top head
Even the Henry Godwins.
Yes.
You know,
No matter where you were on the card, you had some type of an angle going on that was on TV. It might have been a small one, but people knew what you were doing. And I just, you know, maybe they don't have time even though they have a 3-hour show.
Which makes no sense, right? Yeah.
But this time, I'm not one of the guys that say, in my day, and we were doing this, and this today's wrestling, because when I came in as Papa Shango, the older wrestlers hated on me. I mean, big time hated on me. So I'm not one of those guys. This is what I say. Dude, I'm glad to be part of the 90s and the attitude here, and I'm just glad to be a part of it and a big part of it. Because that was just the coolest time in the world for me, and I let it go with that.
Was there some kind of reaction from veterans that would look at Papa Shango like?
Yeah, it was too gimmicky for them.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty, I mean,
It sure was.
Vince had the spells, and he took it kind of far. But, you know, hey, like I'm saying, I'm not one of those guys. I'm just glad that the boys are making money and there's more opportunity for them. To make
Right
money.
now, yeah. Well, like we said, 92 it opened hot. You had those great angles going on the 2 different teams that they had running on the house show loops. What about a guy that debuted right around the same time as you? He had a series of really cool vignettes shot in his hometown of Pembroke, North Carolina, where we've had some live events of our own. The Native American Tatanka.
Yes.
Any memories of a young Tatanka?
We rode together for a little bit, but then he kind of went off. He was a good guy. He hung out with us a little bit in the clubs at the beginning, but how long? He wasn't there long either, was he? So I don't know what happened, but it seemed like he was.
He lasted longer than you.
I probably left and came back, and he was, you know.
Yeah, you were Kama when he left. So he lasted that long, yeah.
$1 Million Corporation.
Yeah, with Ted DiBiase, right.
I didn't really hang out with those guys. I would hang out with Taker and
with your
Yoko
right.
and Rikishi and that group.
Tatanka's been a big help to our toy drive efforts over the years. He's a good egg, but from what I remember, one of the guys told us that, you know, just on one of the long plane rides that you guys would have. He had a long conversation with God in the middle of the flight. And he vanished for 10 years.
Yeah,
So I don't know what God said back, but
I always like seeing him. I don't see him too often, but when I do see him, it's good to see him.
and he's a great ambassador for WWE still, as one of the guys under the Legends contracts, and very professional. Like I said, we loved having him in the studio. We were planning on getting together in Tampa when we do our Wrestle House 2 week with Jerry Briscoe, and the first week in December of 2021. So, and still big, thick. He's almost got that
He's still
Lionel
working.
Daniel thing going.
He's still working. I'm pretty sure. And his sons are
Oh,
doing
my
really
God.
well in wrestling.
There is. I think
Those
one in
guys.
wrestling and one in football. If I
Yeah,
remember
they
right.
listen like studs. When you talk about that Legends contract, I would venture to say that I've been on that contract longer than anybody.
Are you still a legend?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, wow.
Wait for my check now. It's a little late. My royalty
Oh,
check.
yeah.
I've been on since 2003.
Really?
And I bet you there's very few that have been on that since 2003.
Now, for those that have no idea what we're talking about, what exactly is a WWE legend?
It's a contract you sign. You get 5 years. They pay you so much money up front. And then in the 5 years, you make royalties. And you don't get a check until you recruit the money that they gave you at first. But I've always gotten a check. And it just, every 5 years, they either renew you or you don't. They renew me every year. I think I have 2 years left on the deal now. I hear that they're starting to end those contracts.
Well, with what's going on recently, and the funny thing is, it's a time when they've never made more money with what they have coming in with revenue from the contract with Fox and the contract with USA. Those are worth well over $200 million a year each just in the United States. Peacock, NBC streaming service, took over WWE Network for another $200 million a year. NXT's worth almost $1 million a week from USA, and that's just in the United States, never mind every other country in the globe that they're involved in. So it's amazing that when they have, and I own WWE stock, so it's not necessarily the worst of things for someone in my position, but I look at it as when they continue to just make some shocking releases.
Right.
I think it hurts the overall product at a time when their popularity, it's not shooting through the roof to begin with, from when the virus began until around the time we're taping this in the late summer. 70 talents. That's almost enough to start another promotion.
All I can tell you is Vince has a lot more money than I have. And so he's a lot smarter. He knows a lot more what he's doing than I do. And I'm not, I can't second guess what he's doing. It's what's happening. But he is getting, they're thinning that herd way down.
Wait, when you see someone like The Fiend, I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I know about the releases.
Wyatt.
Yeah. I know
Wow.
I'm sure there's a lot of speculations
Wow.
out there that are going on. So
That whole
I
Rotunda
don't know
family. Mike got furloughed, then fired. They got rid of Bo, and then The Fiend was, I would think, other than Roman Reigns, would have been probably the two most untouchable guys they had. So
yeah,
you just never know in this crazy
I don't have the
industry.
answer to all that. But, you'd have to get that from Vince or Hunter.
As a legend, you make special appearances and things like that too, do you not?
They just booked me on the Stone Cold podcast. They keep me relevant in the action figures. They put me in their video games. I don't do as much stuff as I used to because of Peacock now. Most of my stuff's rated X. So I think most of my entrances, they cut out all my entrances and just show the matches. And you don't see a lot of shots of the girls.
Sound like that.
Hey,
But you know what? From a business point of view, it certainly makes sense.
I mean,
Peacock doesn't want
a lot of stuff that I was doing is very controversial.
Sure was, but it was fun.
I always tell people,
it was fun.
You always see characters, come back as different. They always keep certain gimmicks alive, but you'll never see another Godfather like I was.
No.
Say
the
what I would
authentic
say.
real deal.
You'll never see that again.
I just look at it like this, when you look at a movie company, which they want to be movies and TVs and WWE with their sports entertainment phrase that they like to push, well, why can't there be a PG WWE? Why can't there be a PG-13 WWE? Why not an R-rated WWE? I think it would make it more fun and it would appeal to more demographics. I'd like to see there be just like a program for just little kids, where there's no punching or there's no kicking or anything. Just maybe,
The only thing
I
is
don't know,
those little
if
kids
you have-
probably wouldn't want to see that. And they'd want to see the other versions.
but maybe it would.
There's an
groom
old saying,
for
if it don't make money, it don't make sense.
There you go. You're not making any sense if you're not making any money, right? There you go. Again, one man's opinion, but I like things to be authentic. You know what I mean? WWE, as I've said it before, on so many of these different shows with so many different guests, WWE bought every library they wanted to buy. They have the right to present history any way they want to. They own that footage. But I think that's what's great about shows like what we do. You know, there's a room for it. There's fan interest in it. Again, there may be fans that don't watch WWE or AEW or any wrestling promotion anymore, but they love to hear the stories about the nostalgia, especially the 80s and 90s is what I find to be the most appealing from the fans that watch the shows. I mean, to me, in a lot of ways, I remember because I was doing stuff with Ed at the time, it all changed when the bell rang at the end of WrestleMania 17, when they turned Stone Cold heel and put him with Vince. I don't think it's ever felt the same ever since. And attendants might agree with me, but that's a different story for a different time. But the 80s and 90s were just such great times. You know, there were a couple of lulls in the 90s, but pretty much those were just 2 decades of great wrestling, not just in WWF, or everywhere. Yeah. But again, we can continue to hit on that type of stuff. Did you ever have a chance to sit back and watch a TV debut against veteran enhancement talent, we'll call him, Dusty Wolf?
Yes.
Say, you know what, look, I have, even though you've had your fun and your experiences, I have made it. The biggest company in the world that does what we do has taken this Papa Shango sketch that they flew me to Connecticut to look at, and they have brought it to life in a way you probably couldn't even have imagined. When that eerie music hit the first time, came up with the skull with the smoke, and the cape, and the hat, and the makeup, and the tattoos, and announcers that had credibility that didn't know what they were looking at, and were even acting a little scared themselves of what they were seeing. Did you ever have a chance to look at that match and say to yourself, geez, I really have made it? Or maybe you had a different one.
No, I mean, of course, you had made it, the production, everything they put, the way people put it all, Dusty put that match over great. And so much of that enhancement talent could have been stars in the whole thing. No, I do. You do other reactions. You're in back there. Remember you had magazines, you had weekly magazines
out. You were on the cover.
I think one year I was voted the worst gimmick and the best gimmick in the same magazine. And it was, I knew I'd made it. People, and then of course people recognized you. And, all of a sudden now you're going through the airport and everybody knows who you are, and people at home. But it was a humbling experience, and I remember that.
Was it a little, I don't know if difficult is the right word, but unique for you to try and navigate the outside world where you had these supernatural powers and wore face paint, and then when you walked outside of the ring, you certainly, when you're up stopping for dinner at Applebee's, you weren't going to walk in looking like that. I mean, I know Kane and Boogeyman, they used to wear nylon masks over their head to try and do it. Or did you just go out as you?
I went out as me, but I mean, you're also hanging out with The Undertaker, Macho Man, Mr. Perfect, so they knew you were a wrestler.
Right.
And then, I mean, it's not too hard. There was not too many black guys with tattoos like I had, so people knew who you were.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't walking around. I never walked around with face paint.
You never disguised yourself from anyone. I gotcha.
We were hanging out in strip clubs,
And what about another team that was getting some dark work trying to break in around the same time as you? You during faction warfare several years later, you'd be much more involved with them. But young Ron and Don Harris.
Oh, yes. Good guys. They were in Memphis for a short time. That's where I met them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were there. They were, I forget, the Appalachians or something they were called. But I knew them, both of them. I tell you what I did. I taught them both how to ride motorcycles.
Did you really?
They put them in those DOA.
DOA.
They didn't know how to ride motorcycles.
So when they created that gimmick,
they had no
idea.
Crush could ride a motorcycle. Brian Lee could ride a motorcycle, but they couldn't ride motorcycles. So We had to go. Me and Taker went out there, and mostly we taught him how to ride motorcycles.
You had to give him the Quincy Rustani treatment. How long did it take you to teach?
They picked it up. I mean, all they had to do was take off in first gear and kind of get around the ring, but they learned quick.
They weren't going too fast down the ramp.
No.
As someone that knows nothing about motorcycles, how long does it usually take for someone to be well versed enough to go out on the highway?
Oh, that's a whole different story.
Okay. Or just
They
maybe
weren't ready
around
for
town.
that, but just we had them where they could take off and stop.
That's all they needed.
I don't think we were going to put them on the freeway or highway. We just got them to where they could take off and stop. That's all that they wanted from them. But I think that they started riding when they, because all of a sudden they start revving them up and back doing burnouts. I'm like, oh, they're learning how to ride.
I imagine, again, as someone that's never done it, that's something that becomes a lot of fun once you really know how to do it well.
I gave it up, but
Did you?
It comes to, it's just, with the cell phones and computers and people on Instagram, it's dangerous as it is riding a motorcycle. It's even worse now with people. People don't see you. They're not really, people always think they're out to get you. They're not looking for motorcycles and they don't see motorcycles. And so now they're on their phones and they're driving. It's just, I'm too old to hit that pavement.
It's dangerous enough even to be in a car sometimes.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of it from that point.
It would take me too long to recover from an accident like that. So I used to race dirt bikes. I gave that up.
Oh, wow.
And then I gave up street bikes. I sold my last street bike like a year ago.
Did you?
And I rode it one day. I used to take it to Cheetahs and I'd come home and tell my wife, dude, I almost got hit. I was getting stupid. I was dodging cars. So I shoot a lot of guns now.
We see that on social media.
Yes, but I also play disc golf. I'm a real big disc golf player.
Disc golf?
Disc golf.
What is that?
If you're ever in a park and you see the baskets, it's played just like golf. You call it frisbee golf, but they're not frisbees. They're actually disc. And it's played just like golf where you drive and approach and you putt into these baskets, and there's golf courses. There's frisbee disc golf courses all over the world.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Where's the closest one around here?
Sunset Park's not too we can get there in about 10 minutes on the other side of the airport.
So not too far at all?
No.
Oh, wow.
And but it's harder than you think.
Now, when it comes to, I see you on the range an awful lot. Is that something that's new to you, or has that always been on?
No, I've always been a gun person. I don't think the world's going to end. I don't think I'm going to have to go up against the government. I don't even think zombies are coming. I just enjoy guns.
Yep.
I belonged to a private gun club for 30 years here in Vegas. I just like to go out and shoot. It's peaceful for me.
And you're not bothering anybody?
No, I'm not into killing and all that anymore.
You're not bothering anybody?
No, it's just cool to go out there for a couple hours. I have guns that'll shoot, almost a mile. I got pistols. I got rifles.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I have shotguns. I do trap shooting, skeet shooting. I do 3-gun. I shoot a lot. I mean, I enjoy shooting.
I have never shot a gun.
Oh,
There was a guy at the TV studio, kind of an older man, and his nickname was PJ, because he used to like to, you probably be familiar with it with your line of work, whistle in the wheat fields a little bit, a little bit of the juice,
Right.
the PJ. But he, before he started to decline as he became elderly, he was going to take me to the club. He was going to test it out, and I never get to do it. So it's something I'd like to. I think
Well,
you see people shooting the
You got an
target
open
practice.
invitation with me. Anytime you want to go, I'm very safe. That's something I
Well, the
take
next time we
very,
hear,
very serious is safety with guns. Because
sure.
I mean, you can't be playing around. I won't take people drinking. If you've been drinking, I'm not taking you shooting. If you don't listen, I'm not taking you shooting. I mean, because you get killed up there really easy.
And when you do it, what is it that you shoot? Is it like those?
I don't shoot a lot of paper. I have a lot of steel
cans
targets.
Steel?
No, it's like steel silhouettes of things and drop down targets, but they're all 500. They are 500 steel. The bullet won't go through. And because I like to hear ding.
But a mile, I didn't even know there was a gun outside of the military that could go a mile.
Oh, there's a lot of guns that'll go a mile.
Wow.
Any 50 caliber, 330 LaFleur will go a mile. With the right ammo, maybe a 6.5 Creedmoor will go a mile. A 300 Win Mag will probably go 1,300 yards. I mean, that's almost what's a mile, 1,700 something yards. I mean, there's a lot of guns that'll go a mile.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, fans, think of the things that we learn on this crazy talk show is we're trying to promote the annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlock Toy Drives. We're learning about guns. But it's something I'd love to do. Maybe next time we're here for the Cauliflower Alley Club. Maybe in the afternoon or maybe in the morning we can do a little shooting. And then we can come back here and we can do a little verbal shoot on the interview.
I would love to.
That'd be a lot of fun.
We take you out there and I'll get you some nice fun guns.
Yeah.
Not guns that are going to hurt you or scare you. But we'd have a good time.
I just
Well, there's a lot of guns
some of them have a kickback.
Yes,
to it,
there's guns that I have that you shot one time, you'd be like, I'm done. I don't
You gotta stop me slow.
Yes.
And I'm slow to begin with, but that's a different story for a different time. Wrestling fans, we're gonna take a brief time out. We're back to wrap up the show with the conductor of the train, baby. Get on board. We'll be right back.
Wrestling fans, on Royal Rumble Saturday, January the 29th, things are getting a little dirty. That's right. Joining us live in studio for the very first time will be our longtime friend, the legendary Zeb Coulter, a.k.a. Dirty Dutch Mantel. Dutch will be with us all weekend for Wrestling Insider tapings, Patreon watch-alongs, live episodes, and cyber autograph signings. Plus, Dutch will be watching the Royal Rumble with us. For more information and autograph photos, head on over to BostonWrestling.com.
Cheer! Why, hello! I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
At Night of Champions 2020, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns successfully defended the WWE Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso, in a must-see battle. Here is your chance to own a piece of Roman Reigns moments before battle on this beautiful limited edition autographed 11x14 poster direct from friends at WWE. It's number 19 of only 50 made. Includes WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself. Suitable for framing and matting. You'll also receive a bonus Legends autographed 8x10 photo in an on-air shout-out on Wrestling Insiders as our thanks for helping keep Wrestling Legends working. Get this ultra-rare Roman Reigns autograph poster now. Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling's Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th.
Wrestling fans, welcome back. We continue to talk about a little bit about everything on this crazy show, Wrestling Insider Special Edition. Again, the mission, and you know what time of year it is when I get the Santa Claus shirts on. This one is a little bizarre because for some reason I think Santa Claus is underwater, but you know. I had a Santa Claus shirt with Santa Claus with skulls for Kevin Sullivan with Santa hats on. So I tried to find a little something different for everybody that came to join us. But in 1992, something maybe a little bit more serious. WWF, it was on top of the world. We mentioned the great house shows they were having, the Jake and Macho program, Hogan and Flair, the Dream Match. You had Sid was involved with Hogan. Piper was involved with Flair at the same time. Undertaker finally made the big babyface turn because everybody loved him almost
Right.
from day one, no matter how dark and evil he and Paul Bearer got. He was over, but problems started to arise, maybe is the best way to put it, and one that really had some tough times. A man I really didn't get to know all that well during my time, and maybe you could share a little bit about the gentleman. The Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. He was arrested in February of '92 for forging prescriptions and so on and so forth. He faced several suspensions from the company that year before being let go. Do you remember Kerry Von Erich having any tough times or memories of Kerry Von Erich in general?
Good. I wrestled with Kerry a lot. He was in he was in USWA, but he'd come into Memphis. But we'd go to the Sportatorium. I think it was USWA. It was called Mid South something before that.
When they started to merge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kerry was cool. I mean, he had his problems, but he was a cool guy. You know, when he was sober, he was a good guy. Hell of a body. Hell of a look. I like the dude.
I don't know if it was something you ever witnessed, but was it hard for him to get ready with the issue that he had?
Nobody knew about his foot.
Oh, really?
Nobody knew about
Back
that.
then,
He didn't. He showed up with his boots on and stuff. And
Really?
Yeah, nobody knew. I mean, there's a lot of stories out there. We didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He never took his boot off. He'd show up with his boots on.
I remember Percy telling us the story about him wrestling. I don't know if you remember the old timer Colonel De Beers.
Oh yes.
They were working in maybe
Robert
St.
Fuller.
Louis.
Right? No, Colonel De Beers
No,
was the other
Colonel
guy
De
with
Beers
the.
was Ed
Yes.
Skowski. He had a big.
And he had the
big
Truth
decorated
Commission and-
snuck up. Yeah,
Yes.
he would have fit in with the Truth
Yeah,
Commission, right? But I think it was St. Louis, and it was hot and it was sweaty, and he was working the leg, and I guess he worked it a little too hard, and he pulled the boot off, and there was no foot. He almost passed out. He was in shock because, like you just said, nobody knew.
Yeah, I think it was half. I think half his foot was gone. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but
And
I
that
mean,
really slowed the man down because he
Yeah.
was in his peak. I mean, again, you talk
Dude.
about when they sketch Papa Shango, you're talking about you want to sketch what the atypical babyface wrestler should look like, almost like Conan.
yes,
I
he
mean,
had the look. He had
it
the
all.
build. He had it, man. He was over too.
And that whole family, though, just so many tragedies in it. But
By the time he came to WW, probably after the time though, it was at the end.
he was.
I mean, that's
he
when
was
they
disappointed.
wouldn't. They didn't even call him Kerry Von Erich. They
Yeah,
called him the Texas Tornado.
And for them to need Mr. And I don't know how much you bothered to even watch WWF in 1990, but they really needed Mr. Perfect to go above and beyond just to try and get something past.
Hell of a worker he was.
Yeah. Oh.
Hell of a worker he was.
Did you ever meet his folks?
Yes, Larry loved me. Larry would go, Papa, 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 Papa Shango.
And I always thought it was so nice that Kurt would bring him.
Yes, Larry was cool.
Larry never wanted out of the business.
No, he was cool, man. He was cool.
We did his final appearance that he did when he started to slip.
Right.
At New Orleans WrestleMania weekend a couple of years back. And because he had got to that point, Irene had to come too. And I always said, almost like our friend in Connecticut, if they were ever going to make a movie about Santa Claus, this lady that was just so nice, so kind, so sweet, Irene Henning. And I felt so bad when Larry had passed within a couple of days of my grandmother. I remember it happened at the same time. It just, I hope she's doing good. I hope the whole family is. I thought Joe, the son, Kurt's son, they had the best formula I've heard of money-wise in wrestling history. His wife was involved somewhere in the medical field, and everything that she made is how they live, and everything that Joe made from WWE, they put in the bank. So I think they'll probably be doing pretty good.
Good for them. Good for them. That's smart.
Joe was there for over a decade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he probably accumulated some cash.
Good for him. I mean, hopefully he put it away and invested it.
Yeah.
Most of the guys don't, unfortunately.
Well, we've seen the pitfalls, but hopefully that's a story that's going to be a
Right,
positive.
right.
And just to lose it, Kurt is another one that I'm sure we'll talk about, but left way too soon. But also around the time you debuted, Shawn Michaels went from being one of those wild rockers with Marty Jannetty to an asshole-ish type heel. He had Sherry Martel carrying that mirror around. He was the Heartbreak Kid. He was the boy toy. He was getting that rocket put on his back to the top. Your memories, or your early memories of Shawn Michaels?
Shawn was always cool with me. That whole group was cool with me. I've never had no problems with Shawn. He'd make suggestions sometimes and things to help me. Yeah, I've never had any problems with Shawn. Great work. Probably the best technical match I ever had was against Shawn Michaels. It was a King of the Ring.
95.
And we did a Broadway, 20, 30-minute Broadway where, we had a time limit because then we got both eliminated. And I just remember shutting my mouth and letting him call everything. He even called my heat. And probably he could work.
Oh.
He could work with anybody. So he's one of the best workers out there. He could work with anybody. That old saying, he could work with a broomstick. He could.
He may not have been Austin when he came to the draw. He may not have been the attraction that maybe Andre or Undertaker became. But as far as match in, match out, with the variety that he put together,
he could work.
I think he may be the greatest.
He's one of them. Owen Hart was one of them. Kurt Hennig was one of them.
Those two never had the world title run, so maybe people don't have as much footage accessible to them.
But they could work. Especially Owen, my God. Owen was great.
It's like, who was it that said it? Maybe it was D-Lo. That Owen, he felt, was much better than Brett. It's just Brett was more of the complete package that they could make the champion out of. So,
I'm not going to take nothing away from Brett, but Owen was the shizness. Owen was great.
Yeah. I used to love Owen.
I spent a lot of time in Germany, in Japan. Everywhere I'd go, Owen would be there.
Did you think in 1992 when you were Papa Shango, seeing what was going on with Shawn, did you ever think that he would become the guy and one of the faces of the company? Or
didn't think that way.
No.
Why not? Vince liked him.
Yeah, well,
he drew money.
Yeah.
It really helps when Vince likes you, but Vince likes me.
Vince likes you.
Vince, believe it or not, Vince likes me. That's probably why I'm still around.
If you've had that Legends contract since 2003, I should say, they like you. You're doing something right.
I talked to Taker a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I seen Vince in Dallas a couple weeks ago. First thing he asked me how you were doing.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like,
that's nice.
And I'm like, Vince has always been cool with me. And this is what Taker said. Taker says, you got a special place in your heart with Vince. He goes, Vince likes real people and you're a real dude. He goes, but Vince likes you a lot. I'm like, well, I know he does.
From what little, like I said, about my depth with them was with Ed Cohen and Sue and people like that. But just, I think someone that admires balls, and you, like you said, every time you felt like you weren't having fun, okay, I'm going home.
He would laugh at me.
There would be other people that would probably, if they were in that position, they'd be on their hands begging to keep the job. You know what I mean? With you, it was almost like a shrug of the shoulders.
Like, Vince, it really was. Hey, Vince, I'm out of here. He goes, well, when do you want to finish up, Charles? I'm like, now. I want to finish now. And he would just laugh and say, okay, Charles, go. I will. Give us a call when you're ready to come back. And that's how it was.
And even during those times when things got a little strenuous during the Monday Night Wars, he never had that fear that you'd go to WCW.
I think he knew me.
Yeah.
Not only did he trust me, they put up with a lot of, they put up with a lot with me that they really did. And God bless them. They allowed me to be me, but they put up with a lot with me. I think Vince might have thought it was funny, but I used to get into it. I was the Godfather.
Well, hey, look at who he admired when he was a kid, Dr. Jerry Graham. Probably someone that very few fans of this generation are familiar with, but he was the wild child of wild children in this industry. He wanted to dye his hair blonde like Jerry and burn $100 bills with the cigars like Jerry.
Right.
And so that's who Vince wanted to emulate when he,
I don't know if he wanted to be a pimp, but
I don't know if he wanted to be a pimp, but
he loved the gimmick.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
He loved he used to tell me, Charles, I'm fighting for you. You have no idea. Because they were after Val Venus, me, DX, the puppies.
That phony piece of guy.
Head, Al Snow in the head.
Remember that nonsense with Walmart? We're not going to sell his action figure because it's a decapitated woman.
So, things were changing, but he fought for me for a long time.
That Steve Allen, I think what they call PTC, Parent Television
Yes,
Council,
that's where we got the RTC.
And that Steve Allen, after taking his payday for WrestleMania 6, thinking he could, get his name out there a little more and something new and going after pro wrestling. F them.
Right.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
I that bothered me an awful lot because I knew that stuff was going on, so he'd give me the scoop sometime. But Anyway, as WWF was gearing up for its biggest pay-per-view of the year, WrestleMania 8, and technically it didn't even turn into the biggest pay-per-view of the year. SummerSlam turned into such a phenomenon in 1992. You had the unfortunate, just a disaster of a time. And I remember as a kid watching, just being blown away where almost every week you had a different scandal of some kind breaking out. A lot of the times, it was con men that were just angry they weren't with the company anymore and they were trying to create something to get their name out in the news. There were some stories with some validity to it, but I mean, it was wild. I mean, I don't think you were on it, but I remember Percy was on a house show in St. Louis, and they sent drug-sniffing dogs to try and catch talent.
I've been around that a lot.
And that's some heavy-duty stuff.
Oh, I've been around that.
That columnist, I think in the New York Post, Phil Mushnick, who's had this vendetta with WWF for eons, he was writing different columns every day, trying to dig up dirt from people like superstar Billy Graham, who, I don't think would know the truth if he fell on it. Billy Jack Haynes, who was gone and had an axe to grind. Dr. D. David Schultz, who had a vendetta against the company after that whole John Stossel beaten, and then trying to attack Mr. T before WrestleMania 1 to get his name off of it. I think his name was Murray Hodgkinson, claimed, they promised me the moon as a commentator and then released me, and he just didn't happen to be very good. I remember you talk about balls. Vince going, I don't know if you've ever seen the tape of it, but Vince going on the Phil Donahue show with about 7 or 8 different people that were at him, and he was there all alone taking one shot after another.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Vince a fighter.
I thought it was, I didn't even know he was the owner of the company. I only knew him as the guy that did the commentary.
Right.
And then I was maybe in the 6th or 7th grade, and I was just fascinated. Then at night you put on the Larry King show, and it's him and Bruno's saying Billy Graham, and they're saying, we saw all those ring boys being attacked and being molested. And Vince said, well, if you're seeing these things, why didn't you call the police? You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, the year before that, you had, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. George Zahorian, the guy that used to take care of the boys out of Pennsylvania. He was convicted, and when they went to his office, the feds are there, federal, I don't know how they announce themselves when they knock in. No one's ever done it to me, but they announced they were there and they wanted him. And it's, I'm just finishing with the patient, and then you hear with the paper shredder trying to get rid of the names, and then you see names like Hogan and Piper, and so they had some at a time when wrestling was so hot, something to try and.
I came in at the end of all that.
Yeah. So at least you didn't have to live through it, but.
They were
times. It hurt business.
We used to get drug tested twice a week. You get tested on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then they'd test you again at TV on Monday or Sunday. We got tested a lot, twice a day sometimes.
The guys would, and we've had guests on the show that have told us, but again, before your stint, but in that summer of '91, after the Hogan fiasco on Arsenio Hall, when he said, I only used it 3 times to rehab my knee, Vince said it to the boys. Get off of everything. Your numbers have to decline every time you test.
They were,
you're going to be, say la vie.
They were on us.
But it turned into a time when so many of the marquee names and feature faces of that company just vanished in '92. And maybe in a sense it helped Papa Shango because you shot up the cards really quick because they didn't have anybody left.
That's exactly what happened.
You were instantly over because they did such a great job building you up. It was like, you know what? All right, he's gone. He's over. He's big. We already set up, and we're going to get there before maybe we go into the series of matches, but we already shot the angle with him and the Warrior. Perfect. Main event.
Sid quit. And Sid was supposed to do whatever with the Warrior. Sid decided to quit. Sid left. Vince says, who do we got that's got heat on him? Papa Shango. So I kind of got thrown to the wolves into that thing because they were just building me. Then I was wrestling Tito and stuff. So
yeah, that's probably a great thing for you. But we are getting a cue from the back. We're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back. Oh, no. Wait. Whoa. Captain Lou corrected me. I apologize, fans. Unfortunately, we are running out of time on this episode. I appreciate you keeping an eye on things like that. The captain keeps things happening here on Wrestling Insiders, much like this wonderful individual does. Anytime I get a chance to even sniff, get anywhere near the whole train, I'm happy.
Hey.
It's been a while. I don't want to get, Linda makes life difficult about a lot of things.
Let's leave it alone.
We'll leave it alone. You know what? It's only Amtrak. For this episode, we had a heck of a lot of fun. Again, the premiere chat. We want your input, what you think. We'd love to have the Godfather back as a regular guest on the show. I know he's busy doing podcasts, but I mean, my God, he can just add to his media repertoire by joining everything we're doing here. The super chat button is open for business. If you want more great guests like this and to help us keep the lights on, you can utilize that. In the simple things, give us a thumbs up, like old Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yo!
Give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. It costs you nothing, and it lets those. And he's an expert in them. It lets the YouTube algorithms
Oh,
know
yes.
that you really like us. And it'll showcase our videos to more and more of those millions of fans that don't know we exist, but we believe will love these great wrestling talk shows once they find them. So for my friend, the Godfather, I'm Dan Marotti. One of the two of us is in the Hall of Fame. I'll let you guess which one. Until we speak again, you and yours, be healthy, be well. Good night from Las Vegas.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.